Hello everyone, Ryan here. Finally. Apologies for the delay in this one, life has been getting in the way. If you follow me on Instagram, Power Ranger Gram, you'll have seen that over the last week I hit a year of posting. That's kind of snuck up on me, as has the fact that I've not posted a video in about a month. So, without further ado, Titanus. Is it Titanus or Titanus? Kind of depends which territory you were in when it was originally released. In America it was Titanus, and indeed the legacy version that came out a few years ago was also Titanus. So I'm guessing that ours was just made Titanus because it didn't sound as rude. Titanus is the biggest and also least exciting Zord. However, it changes just enough to earn its keep as a transforming Zord toy. Titanus is the original Brachiosaurus Zord in the Power Rangers Sentai lore. It also helps take up the average a bit of how many of the original 7 Dino Zords are actually based on dinosaurs. It's a bit like the Dragon Zord in that what it does is mostly what your imagination says it can. In terms of articulation, his mouth opens, his neck moves, his head tilts up, you can rearrange the claws a little bit. However, it does have one big advantage over any of the other Zords. To unlock this ability, you're going to need your Dino Chargers. These are number C for the collectors out there, also LR14. This is a very satisfying battery compartment. Remember when they were that easy? Okay, well that can happen on occasion. Look at him go! Love that. So yeah, Titanus can go, and he goes at quite an impressive speed if you let him. Because of the mechanism on the wheels, the claws lift up and down. That's about it. Beside his compatriots, he fits in just fine. You get a great sense of scale when you've got all 7 Dinozords next to each other. But obviously it's the combination that people naturally remember Titanus for, and so they should. Taking your Mega Dragon Zord, you basically need to reduce Titanus into spare parts. The claws, the chest plate, these go over to Mega Dragon Zord. A chain appears from out of nowhere, just go with it. Dragon Zord's unused pieces become useful additions to Titanus, and the tail doesn't stick out anywhere near as much as the Legacy Edition, so that's good. Then, once you've brought in the big guy whose legs fill out the cabin quite snugly, you're ready to go. Always liked how the little raised bit behind Titanus' neck forms the perfect groove for the T-Rex's tail. I think what makes original Ultrazord so iconic is how much it looks like a chariot. There have been a lot of Ultrazords over the years, but none of them have looked as awesome as this. Ultrazord is a simple but extremely effective combination. It's probably the most recognisable from the show, and one of the most fun because of the electronics. I say simple because it literally is just a box for other things to ride in. So much so that they brought Titanus back in Season 3, and as a toy called The Return of Titanus, just because there was no Ultrazord in the Sentai that year. What this meant was that Ninja and Shogun Mega Falcon Zords could ride Titanus. Bit of an odd fusion of Ninja and Dino, but no weirder than the fact that they were still in the Dino suits. They created a toy variant called Silver Titanus in Season 6. We obviously got the Mix and Morph version in 2010 in the MMPR revision, don't buy that one. And then the rather lovely Legacy one, I think at the end of 2014. In fact, most Megazords from the show fit happily inside Titanus. Just gonna try this. Yeah, that definitely can't do this with the Legacy version. In terms of similarity to the Japan release, well, everything is pretty much the same mold, right down to the Zyuranger logo on the base. The materials are thankfully the same, even the chain. Some future Power Rangers toys, notably Zeo, removed chains and replaced them with string. So I'm glad we got the real deal back in the day. Overall, it's very durable, it feels high quality, it definitely lasted. The stickers once again draw heavily from the lightning bolt insignia crafted for Power Rangers, unfortunately at the expense of show accuracy. Put it beside Legacy Ultrazord, you can see what I mean. But zoom out a bit from the nitty gritty, and what you'll find is that this is a great toy, and probably one of the best of Ultrazord combinations. Are there any problems with it? Well, don't leave it in the sun, because it will turn a nice caramel colour. That's my doing though, that's just what UV does to plastic. In Ultrazord mode, it can be quite difficult to activate the Dragon Zord electronics. It even was when I was a kid, so the fact that I can still do it now is quite impressive for me. We used to set it going and then dock it at one point. A few pieces are left over from the Ultrazord combination. The Dragonzord staff, the Power Sword, and most irritatingly, Mastodon head. Considering that every other main part of every other Dinozord has been utilised, there is obviously a lot of room left in the cabin, so you can just drop the Mastodon head in there. But I kind of want a place for it, and because you've got the claws over the Megazord hands, you can't even put it in his hand. However, these are just nitpicks, and I once again have to say a belated very well done to Bandai. Way back at the start of the 90s, they managed to create something that was fun, durable, and impressive. For a long time when I was a child, I considered this like the flagship toy in the collection, and even now, I think it does hold up to that plateau that I kind of put it on as a kid. If you were one of those people that only ever bought season 1 of Zords of Power Rangers, not a bad season to buy. Something that always surprises me when I lift up this original Ultrazord is how light it is. I think as a child it was about the right kind of weight. When you lift up Legacy Ultrazord, you feel a bit scared. When you lift up this, it feels fine. Just kind of take it for a walk. So there we go, that concludes my look back at the season 1 Bandai Power Rangers Zords. Hope you've enjoyed this. I've definitely enjoyed kind of getting them out again, kind of seeing how they compare to what we get now. For the most part, I'm really impressed at how they hold up. I can see why these were so sought after back in the day. Thanks for the continued comments on my pictures and videos. Here's something you can help me with. What should I do next? Should we go straight into season 2? Or shall we do the legacy versions of season 1? Can't really decide this, so any input you guys want to give would be helpful. That's it for this one then. Thanks for watching. See you later.